Hi everybody, Coleman Alderson for gardensall.com. Today we are going to discuss planting tall perennials in the border garden. And today we have 3 new entries. We have a rough sketch of how the garden is laid out. This runs along an entry drive. On the right side we have taller plants such as these lilies. We have containerized plants. Those are black-eyed Susans or Rudbeckia. And then we have 3 primary islands of the low-growing junipers. And you can see these started out as 3-gallon plants and they slowly expand. They are a low grower and they do a great job of filling the space. One of the anchor plants is a seedling here we rescued, which is a Japanese maple. It was a seedling, so we don't know how exactly it's going to turn out, but it certainly has a fine shape and will make a great anchor point for this particular area of the landscape. Now over here, let me introduce you all to our new entries.
Which come from a visit to the farmer's market.
That's right, we had a great time. It was Father's Day, and as a treat, they took me to the farmer's market, and we found some really sweet plants. This one was unlabeled, but having done a recent article on the Bee Balm, I noticed it had certain characteristics of a bee balm, but it looked rather odd. Turns out this is a spotted bee balm, or the Monarda punctata, and it also is widespread across North America. It is a North American plant used in the same way as the bee balms we've discussed before. I believe it's the Monarda didyma and the Monarda osa. But the red and the lavender that we have here. So what we're going to do, we're going to set this in a very already somewhat rich and loose soil here, and I've also recommended in the past that whenever you're digging a hole, have a receptacle that you can put the dirt in, and also inside this 5-gallon bucket I've also included some amendments, a little bit of just a little bit of fertilizer and a little bit of the black hen chicken manure in here, not a whole lot. And there's a controversy about whether you amend soils or not, or just, let the soil be the way it is and break it up. I kind of like to hedge the bets on this. So, and you can see this is a pretty wide hole for a smaller plant. Right next to it here is a liriope, and we may be taking part of it out, dividing it, because it's really gotten clustered here, but it's not going to be much of an interference in this spot. Now, this plant will grow to about 2 feet tall, and we're liking the taller plants in this area, and we'll face them out in the front with lower growing plants, flowers and ground cover type plants, like this, this moneywort, which really likes to grow in this area. So this is plant number 1, and I already have a hole for it. When we set it in, we're going to...
I'm sorry, I'm getting a close-up of the moneywort.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and it's spread out all over here too. And pardon the weeds, folks. We're still at it, getting the weeds out. So we'll set this in at the same level right here that it's growing in the pot, and then we'll bring in the wood chip mulch on top of it, being careful not to put the mulch right up against the stem. That's
and speaking of wood chip mulch, and this is Leora Alderson, by the way, if you can hear the noise in the background, there is a home up the street that they are having a truck, an arbor removal company, clearing felled and ailing trees. And so Coleman headed up the street and asked them if they could deliver their mulch here, and they were glad to drop it off here for free. And we'll show you that pile at the end of this.
Yeah, they were totally delighted. It's like, oh wow, man, you mean, yeah, that's great. So, but we use mulch, this wood chip mulch a lot. It breaks down. A lot of people, well, some folks have said it's bad to have in the landscape because it absorbs the nitrogen as it's breaking down. But tests have shown that that's only on the surface. Down below, now if you mix it in to the soil, then yes, there is a problem with the nitrogen being absorbed. But in this case, where you're just putting it on top and letting it settle in, we've done a couple articles on the Eden garden and the fellow out there that's growing almost exclusively in wood chip mulch. All right, I'm straying off topic here a little bit. But we're going to set this in, and this is the beautiful, it's the Monarda punctata, or the spotted bee balm. Of course, it's an attractant to all kinds of lovelies, pollinators like the hummingbird moth, the hummingbird, bees, and butterflies. And it's just a beauty. You get up close on it, and it was really quite a find the other day.
Yeah, and it looked kind of scrappy and spindly, so it was great that you spotted that.
And here we have a lobelia, has an interesting name. It's the starship scarlet, and it's got a really cool bloom that will have bright red scarlet flowers coming out at the top. Again, a real attractant for hummingbirds and butterflies and such. And then it also has this beautiful red stem, and the leaves, the margins of the leaves are also outlined as the veins are here in a deep reddish purplish color. And it will grow also like the bee balm to about 2 feet tall. So we're going to have a combination of taller plants in through here. And she's showing us the little tag. It's always good to keep the tag.
Sorry about that. This camera's not focusing. But let's see. Okay. There we go. Starship Scarlet Cardinal Flower. Very lovely. Okay. And then?
And this was a Father's Day present from the children. They picked this up at a local home improvement store. It's Stokesia, and it's a member of the aster family. Probably you could see that from the color and the shape of the flower. But it starts blooming in early summer, and we're just barely into, well, we're at the end of spring, so it is a rather early bloomer here. And this is Peachy's Pick. It's a certain type. And when we got it, the roots were sticking out here, out of the bottom. I had to cut the bottom out and then slice the roots. You don't want to plant a plant in the ground that is pot bound, okay? Because if you do, there's a tendency for the roots, even when in soil, to keep circling around. In clay soil, it's even more the case. So I cut this out, and we're gonna, you can see, this thing is gonna be sliced this way, sliced that way, just to get the roots to grow out into the dirt. But for right now, that's my introduction of our new plantings, and we appreciate being able to share this with you all. This is Coleman Alderson for GardensAll.com. Keep on growing. Oh, we got to go over here and look at the big wood chip pile. Okay.
All right, let's go up the street. It's right around the cul-de-sac. One of the benefits of living in a rustic subdivision. There it is. There's that pile of mulch.
There's the first mound, and they're going to bring 3 more. And like I say, we went through an equal amount in the past year. We put it in our yard, we put it in our garden, put it all throughout the landscape. It's just a wonderful material for mulching.
And there's the truck up the street. So if you hear or see anyone in your neighborhood or area doing tree work, and yeah, stop and ask them. A lot of times that's how you can get good mulch for free.
Absolutely, and there's no harm in asking.
That's right.
Well, we ask that you all send in your observations, your comments, and all to our Facebook page at
GardensAll.com is the website. Facebook is GardensAll. And please send us a message or email at creators at, sorry, wrong site. That's the other site that we do, at growers at GardensAll.com.
Well, on behalf of my wife, Leora, and myself, have a great growing season. Coleman Alderson for GardensAll.com.